I want to start this video by reminding everybody that watching this video is actually optional. The only reason that I created this video was to show you some of the kinds of tricks of the trade that you might need, especially if you are given a data set as we were that you didn't create. And so some modifications sometimes have to be made to the data set before you actually do your work. So the data set that we were given access to comes from this big interview that was given to adolescent males, as you can see. And there's a lot of coding that you had to figure that I had to figure out. So like here are the site codes from the locations where they collected the data. And then as you go down, there are all these different demographic information that they got. How old are you? What is your date of birth, etc. And these numbers over here are what they used in their coding scheme in SPSS. So like A1 and A2, if I come over here to the SPSS file, let me get over to the left here. Oh boy. Here's, okay, well I kind of lied, sorry. So they've got a date and a date of birth here. They've got a site. I don't know why everything begins with an A, but everything in this file begins with an A. And then over here they get to these ones where they actually do match the numbering system in the questionnaire. So A1, that's their age at that baseline measure. A3, if we go back over and look at it, that's their ethnicity. And then where I started to really have to do some recoding is on page 10, where they have this answers to these self-esteem questionnaires. And so all of these are coded in the SPSS file as AB1, AB2, AB3, AB4, etc. And you can see when you look at these that they're not all coded in the same direction. So my classmates make fun of me. A yes here means that they have low self-esteem. I am a happy person. A yes here means that they have high self-esteem. So what you have to do is you actually have to reverse code some of these so that they're all going in the same direction. So the 2 always means a higher level of self-esteem. So I just wanted to show you that you can do that in SPSS. And what I do is I save this special syntax file that shows all of the adjustments that I had to make to the original data file. And what I did is I recoded the data. So some of these, like the first question, I had to recode it so that a 1 was a 2 and a 2 was a 1. And that's easy to do. You do that under transform, and in this case I recoded it into the same variable. So I kind of blew away the original data when I reverse scored things, but I felt comfortable doing that in this case. So now everything in the data file then has it coded in the same direction, so that then when I go to calculate self-esteem, I can just add up all of those scores once they're all coded in the right direction. And you can see I had to do that for some other variables, so I just made notes to myself. If you start with a star and end with a period, then that's like a comment. And then, of course, all of these have to end with this execute statement, so I could run all of these. So I had to create some hassles, variables, a mother support time with mother, etc. And the only other thing I'll show you is that sometimes, too, you might want to reverse score the way things are recorded in a survey. So on this sex OK variable that I created, and I created it from the survey, I can see here it must be what they called their H survey question. So if I scroll down to wherever that is, C, D, E, F, F still, G, H, okay? So, and here they actually denoted which ones needed to be reverse scored. So I reverse scored them so they're all going the right direction. But you can see that that strongly agree has a score of a 5, and I wanted strongly agree to mean that they agreed that having sex was okay, in part just because that's how I named the variable. I named it as sex okay. So I needed it to make sense that a higher score means they think it's more okay. So what I ended up having to do was then to subtract 6 minus every score and put it back into the same variable, so that in fact if they had put in an answer of 5 for this first question on the sex okay survey, then I take 6 minus 5 and I get a 1. So I'm recoding it to reverse my 5s and my 1s, essentially. I hope that makes sense. And then the last thing that I wanted to show you is something that's really important, which is that SPSS, this is how it was given to me originally. And you can see here that they've got, let me highlight these first 4. Here's subject number 1, 4 times in a row, because it's going through each of his visits. So he visits in February, he visits in June, then he visits the following year in March, and the following year in June. So his data is going down, and they've denoted the different sessions by this column, the A date column. Well, what you have to do is you actually have to, and here I've this is where I've cleaned it up. So now I've got these summary variables. I got rid of all those individual question data, but I still have these testing dates so that these first four are still subjects, the first 4 data points for subject 1, and here's the 4 data points for subject 2. Well, you can't have it like that to do repeated measures, analysis of variance in SPSS. It has to, this is called long data because everything's going down, but our data actually has to be wide data. It has to go out. So I had to create a variable that has session, and it's got session 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I had to use some code, which is what I really want to show you because I didn't know this for a long time, and you guys might not realize this. But there's code that you can use to convert long data into wide data, or to convert wide data into long data. When you're doing regression analysis, you have to have long data. When you're doing repeated measures analysis, you have to have wide data. Okay, and so I just wanted to show you that it's actually pretty easy to do. I have these instructions, and of course I'd be happy to share them with you. But you just go to, as it says, data, go to restructure, right? Save changes. So I go data, restructure, and then it tells me right over here that I choose the second radio variable where I'm going to turn long data into wide data, and I click next. Then I'm going to choose my index variable, and that's the condition or treatment number. So that's the session number that I created. So I'm going to put that as the index variable. And then it tells me for the identifier variable to put the subject ID number in there because that's going to identify who the subjects are. Don't move anything else into the boxes. It figures it out for us. It knows that things that don't vary are just one entry, and anything else has to go out in the wide way. And then it tells me what to do here. I click next. Say no to sort the current data because it's already sorted. Hit next. Group by index. Hit next. And then you guys are going to love this. Okay, so it's going to switch my data. And it already has. So see here now, instead of having 4 subject 101s, I just have 1, and it goes all the way out, and it's put this session number at the end of each variable. So date of birth, age, those don't change, all right? But as I come out this way, I get to the number 2s. Oh, I guess it did repeat it. Sorry, I didn't realize that. It repeated it. I'm not sure why. That data must have been there. But I've got this other data where these do repeat. I've got a self-esteem measure, Hassel's measure at session 2, session 1, session 2, and then if I come out here, session 3, and then if I come out here, session 4. So that's how you turn long data into wide data, and it is exactly what you need for repeated measures analysis of variance. And this is the data set that then we'll be working with when I show you how to actually do the computer assignment. Okay, I hope that's of help to you. If you need that Word document ever in your future, just let me know and I'll be happy to send it to you. All right.